Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the weekly market analysis. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do well to click on the subscribe button and smash the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. So we are about to enter into a new week, and that's what I'm going to do on this channel. I bring you the weekly Forex or the weekly market analysis. We look at what has happened in the previous week and what is yet to happen so far as the new week is concerned. And last week was another rough week. Yes, even though we had a CPI and all that, it was rough. All right, and looking at the month of August till now, we haven't really had a clearer direction of the market. All right, especially with the yen pairs, and we'll delve into that. All right, yeah. So make sure you watch through to the end. We'll go into the futures market and see what is happening with the yen itself, and then what is happening with the crosses. All right, that is the GBP futures market and the euro futures market. All right, yeah. So let's delve into it. But before we start, let's look at what is happening on the economic news calendar. So on the economic news calendar for Monday, we have the JPY bank holiday. We have the ECB speech for the Eurozone. We have the RBA meeting minutes for Australia. We have the CPI for Austria. We also have CPI for Euro. We have CPI trend median year over year for the month of August. We have inflation rate year over year for the month of August for CAD. We have CPI median year over year for the month of August for CAD. We also have building permit for the month of August for USD. We have balance of trade for the month of August for JPY. On Wednesday, we have inflation rates year over year for the month of August for GBP. Then we have the Fed interest rate decision. All right, yeah. So basically, next week is an FOMC week. So we'll see what happens. Currently, the interest rate for USD sets at 5.5%. So the Fed is looking at maintaining the interest rate. All right. The Fed is looking at maintaining interest rate, and all things being equal, if we see interest rates being maintained at a 5.5%, or if the interest rate is maintained, all right, yes, if we don't see the Fed increasing interest rates, we are going to see a sell-off on the dollar index. That is all things being equal, all right. By all things being equal, what I mean is that if during a press conference we don't hear anything positive, or I've seen any news or any comments from the Fed that will raise hopes for USD, then we'll see the sell-off happening. But if the other way around happens, then definitely we'll see the line there continue to push the upside. But we'll get into the charts and we'll talk more on that. All right, yeah. On Thursday, we have the Bank of England interest rate decision. They are looking at raising interest rates by 25 basis points. All right, they're looking at raising interest rates by 25 basis points. So look at what happened on that. We have the jobless claims 4-week average. We have continuing jobless claims for USD. We have initial jobless claims. We have the existing home sales month over month for the month of August for USD. Then we have the existing home sales for the month of August for USD. We have bank service PMI for the month of September for Australia. We have bank manufacturing PMI for the month of September for AD. We have JPY inflation rate year over year for the month of August. On Friday, we have Bank of Japan interest rate decision, and I'm looking forward to see what the Bank of Japan will do. All right, I'm really looking forward to see what the Bank of Japan will do. Are they going to maintain the negative interest rate, or they will surprise us? All right, will they maintain the negative interest rate, or they will surprise us? Let's see what happens. All right, yes. We have the GBP retail sales year over year for the month of August. For GBP, we have retail sales month over month for the month of August. For GBP, we have retail sales ex-fuel month over month for the month of August. For GBP, we have retail sales ex-fuel year over year for the month of August for GBP. We have service PMI for the month of September for France. We have manufacturing PMI for the month of September for France. We have service PMI for Germany, manufacturing PMI for Germany. We have service PMI for the Eurozone, manufacturing PMI for the Eurozone. We have the S&P Global manufacturing PMI for the month of September for GBP. We have S&P Global service PMI for the month of September for GBP. We have the ECB speech, all right? Yes, then we have the card retail sales month over month for the month of July. We have card retail sales year over year for the month of July. Then we have card retail sales month over month for the month of July. We have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI for the month of September for USD. Then we have the Global Service PMI for the month of September for USD. So that is just that for the economic news calendar. Let's delve into the chart and see what is happening. We start with the dollar index. So the dollar index price is still giving us bullish scenario. All right, price is still bullish at the moment, but for me to give my long-term perspective, it will depend on the FOMC announcement. All right, so just as I made you aware of in the economic news calendar when I was giving my comment on the interest rate decision, if the Fed should maintain the interest rate decision at 5.5%, all things being equal, we see a sell-off on the dollar index. That is all things being equal, all right? And by all things being equal, I made it clear to you that if during the press conference we don't hear any comments from the Fed, all right? Yes, we don't hear any comments from the Fed, that is going to turn things around. Then definitely you are going to see the dollar index push to the downside. That is if the interest rate is being maintained, all right? Yeah, so that is just that for the dollar index. So I don't want to talk much on the dollar index for now until the Fed gives out their interest rates as well as the press conference too. All right, yeah, so that is just that for the dollar index. All right, but if you should look at the dollar index on a technical perspective, all right, on a solely technical perspective, what I would say is that price is trading above September's opening price. You've taken out the previous 20-day high, all right, and so if price is above the open price, that will be an environment to begin to look for sales. All right, that would be an environment to look for sales. But look, let's look at what will happen. All right, let's look at what will happen. The FOMC is very important here, so let's wait and see what is going to happen. So that is just that for dollar index. Let's look at what is happening on EURJPY. Yeah, so for EURJPY, we haven't had a clear direction of the market for some time now. All right, but if you should look at what is happening here, price took out the sell side liquidity right here, all right, and price took out a relative equal lows. And right after price taking out a relative equal lows, we saw price pushing to the upside, making a high and making a low, all right, and this low respected this low, all right. So sell side liquidity taken, swing low formation. A higher swing low formation has been made right here after price moving into this area. Then we had price taking out this high, then a low has been made over here, all right, a higher swing low formation. So I'm expecting to see price continue to push to the upside. So going into next week, you might see price give a little bit of a push to the downside, making out a swing low for the week. Then we see a push to the upside. So I'm expecting a bullish scenario on EURJPY. And that when that happens, that means a stronger euro and then a weaker GBP. All right, use that for your pair selection. So that is just that for EURJPY. Let's look at what is happening on CAD CHF. Yeah, so for CAD CHF, just as I made you aware of last week, I was expecting price to finally push to the upside, and it did. You've taken out a swing high right here, and right after a swing high is being taken, what you expect to see is a higher swing low formation, which I'm expecting is to form going into next week. Then we see a continuation to the upside. So that is going to be my expectation so far as CAD CHF is concerned. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. So for GBPUSD, we've seen price pushing to the downside. All right, price is trading below September's opening price. Price has taken out the previous 20-day low. Price has taken out the previous 60-day low. So as it stands now, the only available liquidity within the EPTA data range is the previous 20-day high, the previous 40-day high, and then the previous 60-day high. All right, yes. And so within the EPTA data range, price has taken out the 20-day low and then the 60-day low. And price is trading below the opening price. So that gives us a opportunity to start looking for buying opportunities. But that will depend on the FOMC interest rate announcement and then the GBP interest rate. All right, yeah. So two things to look out for on GBPUSD going into next week. All right, interest rate decision for the USD and interest rate decision for GBP. That will move price on a long-term basis. All right, that will move price on a long-term basis. So I'm just waiting to see how things are going to pan out so far as these high impact news are concerned. That will determine as to whether GBPUSD will continue to push the downside or will reverse, and then we start seeing a bullish scenario for this very particular market. All right, yeah. So I wouldn't talk much here. All right, I wouldn't talk much here. So that is just that for GBPUSD. Let's look at what is happening on AUDUSD. So for AUDUSD, for some time now, we realize that price has been stalking. We haven't had any clear direction as far as the long-term movement is concerned. All right, we haven't had any clear direction. All right, that literally tells us that we are experiencing a stronger Australian dollar versus a stronger United States dollar. And when it happens this way, we don't get a clear direction of the market. And so going into next week, the FOMC will play a very important role so far as the direction or the long-term direction of AUDUSD is concerned. All right. So I'll be patient on this market, then see what will happen. All right. I'll be very patient on this market and see what will happen so far as the FOMC announcement is concerned. So that is just that for the Australian dollar. Let's look at what is happening on USDCAD. Yeah, so for USDCAD, I think USDCAD is the only pair I'm really seeing some clarity on, and even with that, the lower time frame is looking very choppy. We'll get into that. We'll get into the lower time frame, and then I'll make it known to you on the lower time frame. All right, but look at what is happening here. Price opened on a what? Price opened September. All right, this is the opening price for September. Then right after that, we saw price pushing to the upside. And I always see that when price is above the open price, that is a scenario to look for sell opportunities, because as at that point we are in we're in a premium condition, or we're in a premium zone. So price took out it took out the previous 20-day high and took out the previous 60-day high. Then right after that, we saw price was selling off. So as it stands now, I'll continue to look forward to see USDCAD push the downside, take out this low finally. All right, push to the upside to form a lower swing high. Then you see a continuation to the downside to take out the previous 20-day low as well as the previous 40-day low. All right, yeah. So that is just that for USDCAD. But even with all these moves, I didn't really enter, or I wasn't involved in this move because of the choppiness of price on USDCAD. Just look at this. All right, even though we've seen price push to the downside, but I mean, price has been messy. All right, price has been really in a mess. All right, yeah, because a trade like this will always put your emotions on the line. All right, look at this. You saw price just look at this price action, consolidation right here, then a drop, then price also, even though price is really in the downside, but I mean, it is not a good condition for me to be in. All right, it's not a good condition for me to be in. So I'll expect a much clearer price action going into next week on USD CAD. Yeah, so that is just that for USD CAD. Let's think of what is happening on the yen family. We start with EURJPY. So for some time now, we realize that the yen hasn't really, or GJ and then EJ hasn't given us a much clearer direction. All right, these are some of the conditions that you wouldn't want to get yourself into. All right, yeah. So but I want us to delve into the futures market. All right, we start with the yen basket. So look at what has happened here over a couple of days. All right, apparently you've seen the yen really in a bearish movement. All right, you've seen the yen really in a bearish movement. If we can tell, the bearish movement, I think it began the whole of this year. All right, so somewhere in March we saw price pushing up a little bit. Then right after that we've seen price heavily pushing to the downside. All right, so right from March till now we've seen a very bearish yen. All right, the yen has breaking its all-time low and all that, and so as it stands now that we've seen price consolidating, I'm really expecting the Bank of Japan to do something about it. All right, and the interest rates will be a very key factor. All right, the interest rate for the Bank of Japan going into next week will be a very key factor, because as it stands now, things are not looking good for JPY. All right, and as it stands now, things are not really looking good for JPY. And I think in the course of the week, news came out. All right, someone posted a news from Bloomberg on Twitter. All right, so going into next week, I want to see the Bank of Japan do something about it. All right, and then I think the news that was posted so far as JPY is concerned was about a government intervention. That is basically why we saw a movement happening. All right, some sort of a wake-up call on the yen. All right, we saw a little bit of a movement. All right, yes, we saw a little bit of a movement. So I think on Sunday, the yen pairs opened with a gap to the downside. All right, it gapped down. All right, and we saw price selling heavily. But on Monday, we saw price moving back into a bullish environment. Then on Thursday, we saw price selling. All right, so all these rough markets. All right, yes. So going into next week, I'll be waiting to see what the Bank of Japan will do. All right, I'll be waiting to see what the Bank of Japan will do. But if you look at this market here from a technical perspective, all right, after a long sell-off, then we see a consolidation. It sets up the pace for a bullish run. All right, it sets up a pace for a bullish run. So after this consolidation, we should see a manipulation. If price is going to push the upside, we should see a manipulation to the downside. Then we see a push to the upside. That is if the Bank of Japan should surprise us with an intervention. All right, but if the Bank of Japan surprises us with an intervention, we are going to see the yen beginning to push up. And when it happens this way, then that means GBPJPY will start moving to the downside. GBPJPY will start moving to the downside. All right, yeah. But let's look at GBP futures market. GBP has been on a bearish run. All right, GBP futures market has been on a bearish run. The reason why we don't see it reflecting on GBPJPY is because of what is happening on the yen. All right, the yen hasn't really been strong. That is why we don't see its effect on GBPJPY. Because in a normal circumstance, if GBP futures is moving to the downside, we should see a reflection on a what GBPJPY, whereby you should see the weakness of GBP on GBPJPY, but we are not seeing it that way. All right, yes, because of what is happening. So on the technical point of view, I'll expect to see GBP continue to push to the downside to take out this low right here. All right, then we see what will happen. All right, it all depends on what will happen on Friday. All right, or sorry, next week. All right, with a GBP interest rate announcement and then the yen interest rate announcement. So that is just that for GBP. All right, yeah, let's go back to the chart and finally look at what has been happening on gold. Yeah, so for gold, we've seen gold right after price taking out this swing low right here. We've seen a formation of a swing low. So going into next week, I want to see gold retrace a little bit. All right, I want to see gold retrace a little bit, then we see a move to the upside. Because as it stands now, gold is trading below September's open price. That sets up the pace for a bullish run, or it sets up a condition to look out to be looking for buy. So price at the moment is in a discount zone. So you've seen a swing low taken, a formation of a swing low right here. So I want to see price retrace a little bit to form the low of the week, then we see a push to the upside. So I'll be looking for bullish prices on gold. All right, I'll be looking for bullish prices on gold. Yeah, so that is just that for the weekly market outlook. All right, let's just start for the weekly market outlook. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do well to click on the subscribe button and smash the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Going into next week, I can't really promise you of a daily forex update. All right, yes, but let's see what happens. I can't promise you. All right, yes, but if I'll bring you the daily forex update, definitely you see a notification in my Telegram community. All right, yes, so if you're not part of my Telegram community, do well to check the description box below. The link is there. Click on it and be part of the Clevian Traders Telegram community. Or better still, make sure you are subscribed to this channel and you have turned on the post notification bell. All right, yeah, so that is just that for the weekly market outlook. Next week is a very critical week. All right, be very careful on the market. Be very careful. If I were you, I would just sit back and observe and see what happens, because next week's high impact news, that is the FOMC and then the interest rate announcement and all that, those news gives us a long-term move on the market. They are not short-term. The news wouldn't be released for a short-term news. All right, interest rate announcement and our news releases, that gives a long-term move on the market. So if I were you, next week wouldn't really be an active week for me. I would wait and see what will happen. But hey, be you. All right, be you. So whatever you want to do on the market, just make sure that you apply proper risk management and you'll be good to go. All right, yeah, so that is just that for the weekly market outlook. I'll come your way again another time. I wish you all good luck and good trade. Peace.